Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is CF Claire and today we're going to talk about my Q4 writing goals for 2025. So I like to use the HB90 planning system, which is a planning system set up by Sara Cannon, and it works in 3-month increments where you plan for each quarter of the year. And she's got a lot of pages in the journal layout of walking you through how much time you actually have, what projects might move you closer to your ultimate goal, and all of this stuff that I find a really intuitive and helpful layout. And it is geared towards helping writers in particular. So, in the last video, I went over kind of a summary of how Q3 went as far as writing and being a mom to a 5 and 6-year-old and some garden stuff because that's my main hobby. So in this video, we're talking about like what are the goals for Q4 going forward. I'll go over briefly my vision for the quarter, which is one of the pages in the workbook, how many time blocks I think I have available, what my two writing goals are for the quarter, and I'll also share some tools that I made for myself based on some issues I had last quarter. So I'll share those. I'll share my little like meal planning helpful layout that I printed out for myself. So yeah, let's get started. First of all, my vision for how I like this quarter to go. Fall is my favorite time of year, and it quickly ends in New England. I'm in Massachusetts. So our fall season, weather-wise, is really like beginning to mid of October to end of November. It's very short, and then we get into winter feeling weather. And it's my favorite season, and I always feel like it just like goes by in the blink of an eye, and I'm just always missing it and not taking advantage of it. So I want to intentionally be slower and spend more intentional family time and purposefully have less writing goals. In the past, I've tried to be ambitious and do as much as possible and also over schedule myself, and then typically run into problems I didn't even consider, and then also not be able to do what I thought I'd be able to do anyways. I'm intentionally having only 2 goals this quarter instead of 3, which I believe every other quarter I've had 3 goals. And one of the questions is, what can you do to support this ideal vision for your life for this quarter? We'll get into that in a minute, but it's that question is why I made these bingo sheets and set up a meal planning station in my journal. If you could choose one word to describe how you most want to feel in the upcoming quarter, what would it be and why? I would like to feel prepared. It's holiday season. All of the prep work involved for holiday season feels like it steals all of the fall joy from me. I'm the planner and I'm the like gift giver idea person in the family, and I love that. I enjoy that. But it also means that I'm making a lot of decisions and trying to figure out what can we give this person that's a thoughtful gift and all this stuff. And somehow every year I'm always like, "Hey, remember last year when it actually took way longer than you thought it would and you got stressed out, even though it's something you would usually just enjoy if you were able to feel like you had time to enjoy it." And every year I forget and whatever happens, and I just feel like I'm out of time. So I would like to be prepared. That's one of the reasons I am purposefully not scheduling myself to go to the max, with writing goals. I would like by the end of October to know what I want to get everyone who we're getting gifts for the holiday. And by mid to end of November, have gotten and wrapped all of that stuff. So that in December, I can just be like, great, let's enjoy December and the lead up to Christmas, without being like, oh my God, I still didn't even XYZ. And then, holy cow, we have to wrap things. We don't want that. We don't want that. And I also want to feel prepared for my writing project. So that involves not setting a goal of actually writing, my projects, but in fact, doing a lot more outlining and brainstorming and really feeling solid with what I have. I've been finding that I'm enjoying doing multiple drafts of a scene level, very detailed outline. And so I want to do the next draft of that for the two projects that I'm working on. And then hopefully in Q1 of 2026, I'll just be able to very easily and without pain write the first draft of possibly both of those, but at least of Project Goblin, which is my main focus because I don't like first drafts and blah blah blah, but I'm getting so excited about it. I just finished my second draft of this very detailed outline for it, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so fun. But there are large world building questions still to think about and ponder that would just be plot holes if I wrote it right now. And so it's just like, what? Don't. Anyway, I'm excited and I'd like to be prepared. In order for this quarter to be a success, what is the one thing you want most to accomplish? And I cheated. I wrote two things. The first thing is that just the holiday gifts are like done and they're wrapped by November 30. That is the actual number one most thing that would be good for me for this quarter. But the second one is the actual writing goal. The most helpful thing would be if I was able to finish that really detailed third draft of the outline for Project Goblin, where all of the questions that I still have at the moment have been answered. There's no looming plot holes, and I'm just feeling prepared to write it in 2026. And how will accomplishing that goal help move you towards your larger vision for your life? The reason that that's the thing I'm the most excited to do is because I would like it to be the first book in the first series that I would like to publish on Kindle Unlimited. It's a fantasy, paranormal, romance, interconnected standalone series with a comp title of Cressy Cole's Immortals After Dark. And there's 5 books in this first like mini series within this world that I'm working on. So it's each member of a certain group that will get their own book. And what my research has told me is that it's a really good idea for a series of 5 books to have like at least 3, the first 3 written before releasing the first one so that you can do rapid release. Particularly for me, if I, as a mom of young children, I just don't know how much time I'll actually have sometimes, even though they're in school. Things come up. And I know I would just get so stressed if I didn't already have a really big lead time on a series that I want to rapid release in order to give it the best shot in this self-publishing market. That's why I'm working on 2 books within the series at once. I'd like to always be working on at least 2 at a time. I like being able to work on one project and then just stop and let it sit and work on another project. That just seems to work really well for me. There's a sheet in the journal that goes through the days of the week and like Pomodoro time blocks throughout the day. So you can kind of block in how many time blocks do you think you would on an average week have and on what days. So you can kind of plan how many weekly time blocks it would be pretty typical for you to be able to have. So what I came up with was probably about 30 task blocks per week would be reasonable. There's a little calendar that you can go through and just kind of mark off any days that you are not planning on working at all and any holidays or vacations, just days you know you won't be working. And so after all that's said and done, I'm looking at probably about 320 time blocks that I think I would have, trying to be on the low end and not be ambitious in order to hopefully achieve what I'm trying to do this quarter. And the ideal, of course, is to feel like, yes, I achieved it, but also I even left more space than I thought I would have, and I was able to do more. Wow, while also enjoying the quarter and all this stuff. So we'll see if that pans out, but that is part of part of the hope. So my 2 goals. My first goal is to write that third draft of the outline for Project Goblin in 190, 180, or 170 task blocks in a good, better, best system. And the second goal is to write the first draft of my outline for the second book in the series, which is Project Demon, in 130, 120, or the best 110 task blocks. The benefit of having tracked how long it's taken me in task blocks to do my last couple of writing projects is that these numbers aren't based on just nothing anymore. They're actually based more on what have I been doing. So we're getting closer to being actually accurate with these predictions, I think. So that's a nice place to be at, to have some actual data to look at. Let's take a look at the bingo sheets that I created. They're so cute. I used a template someone had put up on Canva, and I just personalized it for our family and what we would be doing. But I just made one for each of the months. My husband and I both have this tendency of, just if we plan to do things on the weekend, it kind of feels too full sometimes. And then like the next weekend we'll be like, no plans, we don't want to do anything. And then we'll be like, oh no, did we do anything this season? Did we miss it? So I just wanted to have a visual of just, here, look at it. Here's normal stuff people do in October. Do we want to do any of this stuff? I looked online for a couple fun things to do in the fall, lists that people had, and I printed out a couple different lists. My husband is very well known for just waking up on the weekend and being like, "We need an adventure." And me, the planner, I'm like, right now? Whoa. So having a list of some things I think will help me sort of pre-prepare, because it's not like I don't want to do these spur of the moment adventures, but I'm just like taken aback. Like, oh wait, I just thought we were gonna be home. I have to rewire my brain for a minute here. Every Sunday, I think it'll be fun to flip through some of the options of things people do in the fall and just sort of prepare myself, and maybe even me be the one to suggest, hey, let's go do this. I think that will be really fun. And I also, at the bottom of this little sheet, I just wrote, like, here's my momming list. If you watch the Q3 wrap up, one of the things that I thought I would do differently this quarter is keep a running list of fun things I've done with my kids, the three of us. If we bake something, I just want to write it down. If I take them to a playground, let me write it down, because sometimes I'll get too wrapped up in just life and the busyness of how life feels. And then I'll be like, oh, I didn't do enough as mom. So having the visual of, here's what I did do, I think we'll keep things in perspective, which will be good. And I also have this other one. As soon as I started doing the bingo stuff, I was like, I like this format. I'm gonna keep doing it. So so I also made my own just non-writing Q4 opportunities. There's a bunch of stuff that I would like to do that's not writing related during this quarter, but it is just too much to try to do everything. And so a one sheet of things that I would like to get done, and here's how long I think they would take. And I could pick and choose. Do I still want to do this, or am I feeling a different way about it? For instance, tonight we are going to have the first night where it might actually frost outside, which is ridiculous. It's 2 weeks before our typical last frost. If I, for instance, would like to make oregano oil with our oregano, I need to cut it today before it might actually frost. So we'll find out if I do that or not. And then the one last thing I just wanted to show you guys that's different from other quarters that I've done is I just have so much trouble meal planning. I hate meal planning. I looked up, I think I'm not exaggerating, 25 to 30 different lists of meals by different categories online, and I printed all of them, and I have this meal planning section in the back of my planner, so I can just be like, okay, here's so many options of things that we could make. And I went through and I crossed out any meals that there's no chance we will ever make. So I crossed out all of those. So the only ones I can actually see on the list are ones where we would eat those. So the idea is that it makes it so much easier to just do it. Just plan for the week. And that kind of accompanies this other tool that I made, which is just showing what do we have in the garden, because we have a kitchen garden, and what in there is ready that we could use that would be great to use for meal planning. What do we have in the freezer or the pantry? And just make a list of what we need to buy, what we need to prep. And so I can just see, am I choosing meals that take a lot of prep work? Because I can't do that. That's not a smart idea. I'm not going to prep that stuff. Or am I using nothing from the garden, but there's so much in the garden? What's the point of having a garden if you're not going to use it? The hope is that that all works together to make meal planning easy and achievable. And in fact, I just planned out the meal for the coming week as I was waiting for my kids for their karate class. And it was, lo and behold, I was able to do it and it felt good. So I'm hopeful. Those are my Q4 goals. I would love to hear any goals that you guys have, any methods you use. And I hope everything's going well for you guys. I hope you have a great fourth quarter. Happy fall. And I'll see you in the next one.